If I were to tell you about a place where everyone has access to amazing roads, cheap, cool cars, and the possibility for genuinely incredible road trips, then you would surely want to know, what is this mythical place? Well, it's the UK. In response to some disparaging remarks that I've seen about my beloved, amazing United Kingdom, I'll be making the case for why Britain is actually a brilliant place to be a petrolhead. But before we continue, please subscribe so I can buy diesel. First, I'm gonna talk about tax. And yes, I know, everyone hates tax. It's practically one of the national pastimes to complain about tax. But ultimately, the taxes on cars in Britain, levied under vehicle excise duty, is essentially just a tax on emissions. And while yes, it's still annoying that you have to pay taxes, you know, at least emissions are an actual negative drawback of driving. However, seemingly every week you'll see a screeching headline from a seemingly reputable news outlet talking about how the powers that be are levying this new charge, this £100, £200, £3,000 charge on driving. And it's always some little edge case or technicality so that they can get their clicks from saying that the government is squeezing every penny out of drivers. And it's just, even if that is true, it's not unique. We have such a good situation when it comes to taxes on cars in Britain, in that we don't have this massive luxury car tax. We're not taxed based on the value of the car. It's just a simple band on emissions. And then the other thing that outlets will do is they'll make a list of 25 or 30-year-old bangers that are due to rise in tax band. And while it's emotionally not nice to hear that some reasonable family car from 30 years ago is suddenly taxed at £700 or £800 a year, that perspective seems to neglect the fact that cars in general, and especially in Britain, really bottom out in value at £1,000, £2,000, okay? Anything less than £1,000 is kind of a gamble. But at £1,000, you can get a reasonable car that is modern enough that it complies with low emission zones and doesn't cost loads to tax. And even then, if you're spending £400 on a car from 1998 and you live in London, then you're ultimately going to be paying more to keep that £400 car on the road than you are getting a £1,000 car and taking the maintenance that comes with that. And that £1,000 car being something that's modern enough and efficient enough to not fall foul of any emission zones or go into too high a tax band. Oh, it's such a good road. It's such a good road. I'll now respond to a much more interesting point. And that point is about back roads. The person who produced the video, who I do acknowledge has seemingly never been to the UK, depicted back roads as this place where you only go if you want to dodge your black box and your telematics, because the speed limit is a challenge, right? The speed limit is a challenge regardless of what car you're in. And that's the amazing part. I am doing 50 miles an hour, okay? 50 miles an hour. And I am just having the best time. And yeah, while there are some truly treacherous back roads, right? It's not all hedge-lined, 3 meters wide and just terrifying, right? Which, granted, a lot of it is, but it's also really easy to avoid. Now, you don't always have to go to a mountain road in the Peak District to experience a good road. What you can do is just go on Google Maps, right? And just zoom in, and within literally seconds, you'll find interesting roads. And then once you go onto Street View and you see the road, then if it's narrow and treacherous, then just try again. But for the most part, you'll find something that's 2 lanes wide, right? Like this road is 2 lanes wide. You can safely have traffic going in 2 different directions. And most of the time, they'll be 60 miles an hour. And paved well enough that 60 miles an hour is an achievable challenge, right? You know, don't do 60 miles an hour around this corner. But on the straights, do 60 miles an hour, and you can hustle the car and you can have a good time, okay? You don't need 700 horsepower when the roads are fun. And by God, are these roads fun? Like, I'm just pootling along behind this Citroen, right? And I'm still having fun. Not to mention the fact that it feels right now like I am in the middle of nowhere, right? But if you actually look on a map and see where I am, okay? This is the Cat and Fiddle Road, okay? It goes between Macclesfield and Buxton, right? I can drive for an hour and be in one of 2 major cities. It's just great. Even if you don't have the Peak District on your doorstep, you may well have the Lake District or the New Forest or any of the other areas of outstanding national beauty or national parks. There's so much just interesting driving to do, but it's just brilliant roads. And even the ones that don't make top 10 lists of the best roads, there's just countless that you can just discover. However, yeah, maybe don't go when it's so foggy. That might be an issue. So the last major point I want to make is about geography. So not only do you probably have wonderful, amazing country roads within half an hour of where you live, but also if you get bored of your local country roads, your local national park, then what you can do is drive on down to Dover, jump on the ferry, go to France, and then you've got the entire continent of Europe at your fingertips. You know, people from Australia, North America, China, everywhere like that. People pay thousands to go to a few European cities for a few days. Whereas if you live in Britain, you can just explore the continent for effectively the cost of fuel and ferry. Like, it's such a privilege. And even if you don't feel the need to go to the continent, then there's plenty to do here, you know? Drop a gear, brake into the corner, power out of the corner, drive into some sheep shit, right? Carry some momentum, brake into the corner, downshift, rev match, power out of the corner. Look at these amazing views, right? There's so much to appreciate about driving in Britain. It's just brilliant. And while yes, insurance, okay? Insurance is the big asterisk, right? Insurance is fucked here, right? I'm making no excuses for insurance companies. When that's the biggest thing, you know, we have cheap cars. I bought a manual 3-litre BMW Estate and it cost me less than £3,000. It's crazy. So yeah, insurance is expensive and it's annoying and black boxes and all that, but there's just so much to appreciate. Subscribe for more Hope Core, I guess. Whoa. Whoa, power out. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good.